Hi, we're going to show you how to play by playing a couple of rounds in a hand, and then we'll skip to the end and do final scoring so that you can get a gist of how to play this game. I'm Corey.
And I'm Tracy.
And we're the designers. What I like most is that it's easy to learn, and you can really mess with people, and it's my type of party game. What about you?
My favorite aspect are the adorable animals. I have to admit, when we sat down to start creating this game, I could not have thought of anything quite so adorable and cute.
All right, so let's get started with setup here. The first thing that you'll do is everybody will pick an adorable little animal. So I chose the panda. We're giving you, the viewer here, you're going to play the kangaroo. That's a kangaroo.
He's pretty cute.
And Tracy will be playing the penguin. He's a little sly and devious, it looks like.
He does. He looks like he's ready to cause some ruckus.
All right, so the next thing that you'll do is you'll give each player 5 dice. That's 2 8-sided dice, 2 6-sided dice, and a 10-sided die. And then each player will roll their dice. So once you've rolled your dice and put them either on or near your player card, they cannot be changed unless another card tells you to change them, either by re-rolling them or switching, adding to, or taking some away. You cannot change your dice once they're rolled. So this is what we call as the initial state of the dice for the game. So it looks like I'm sitting pretty here with an 8, a 6, a 6, a 5. The only one I'm really concerned about is my 2 on my 10-sided die, and hopefully I'll get rid of that through the course of the game. The next thing you'll do is build your draw deck. So since the monkey and the fox are not being played, you will take those cards out of the deck. So we'll just get rid of those. We'll take the other cards, put them into one deck, flip them over, and shuffle them. Once you've rolled your dice, created your draw deck, you need to deal 7 cards to each player. Now, don't get attached to these cards. Why not, Tracy?
Because we are going to be taking, drafting, and passing.
Right. So these are not your cards for the whole game. These will be being passed around. You get to choose 1 card each round and then give the rest of your hand to the player on your left. So they'll be passed around. I'm just going to go right into it here, and we're going to choose a card to play for my first round here. So a little bit about the way the cards work. There's 3 things on this card that you need to be aware of: the top text, the bottom text, and where you put your die when you resolve this card. So to resolve a card, if the animal on the card matches your animal, so for example, I'm playing a panda card, and and I'm the panda, so I'll read the bottom text. If you're playing another animal and you play this card, you read the top text. So if Tracy was going to play this card, being the penguin, what would you do?
I would give this card for this turn and its attached die to the player on my right. So not being the panda, I would have to trade the die, the card, and to give it to the person on my right.
Which in this, I know we're top to bottom here, but we're still going to say this is a clockwise table. So that means she would give this card and its die to me. I would give my card and my die to you, the kangaroo, and you would then give your card and your die to Tracy, who's playing the penguin. But since I'm the panda, I get to choose which direction these go. So we'll see who puts what on their cards here, and then we'll do that. So let me put this back in my hand. For Tabletopia users, what you will want to do is flip the card you want to play first and then put it onto the table. So once you've put a card on the table, you have to choose a die that you want to attach to it. Now remember when I said that I had a 2 that I wanted to get rid of? That's the die I'm going to put on here because this card is not going to stay with me. So somebody else is going to get my 2. Alright, so we have all selected a card that we want to play. We've put a die on it to attach that die to the card, and now we're ready to start resolving cards. So the way that we resolve is we take the top card from the draw deck, and whichever animal that is goes first. Okay, so I'm the panda. I will get to go first, which will make this kind of crazy. Let me move my die here, flip this over, and we just talked about this, so I get to choose which way these cards go. Well, I want them to go, they're going to move one space. I want Tracy's card, so I want them to go clockwise. So I will get Tracy's card, that moves up. My card then becomes yours, and then your card then becomes Tracy's.
Now, Corey, now that you've already flipped that card, does the kangaroo get to play it again?
No. So once a card is resolved, now I got to resolve first, and then we'll go around the table to resolve cards. But this has already been resolved. So really, the kangaroo kind of skips a turn because they've been given a card and a die that have already been resolved. But don't worry, kangaroo. We got your back. We'll show you how this works. All right, so then it would go clockwise from me to Tracy.
Okay, so I'm going to flip my card to reveal. So this was the card that you played. And it's a penguin card, which means I get to read the bottom text. So penguin steal, trade the attached die for any other die.
Ooh, that's really cool.
That's a powerful card at this point in the game.
So let's look at all the dice here. And when it says any die, these are also dice that are in play. So she could take my 8, she could take your 8 as a kangaroo, or she could trade that for one of her own, which is kind of pointless. But
yeah, I don't want to get stuck with this too. So, kangaroo, I hate to do this to you, but I want that 8 on the 10-sided die. I would have taken Corey's, but his 8 was already maxed out, so I'm hoping to maybe add to this 8.
so that is another thing. There are cards that say add to a die or decrease a die. You cannot add to nor decrease a die outside the range of the die. In other words, if you have a 10 on a 10-sided die, or a 0, which counts as a 10, if you have a 10 on a 10-sided die and you have a card that says add 2 to a die, you can't add 2 to that because it's already maxed. So, and likewise, you can't take anything below a 1. So that's why she took your 8, unfortunately, so that she might be able to add to it. Mine was already maxed. So then we keep going clockwise, and then I will resolve the card that Tracy played originally. It's doubles, so add 4 to my final score if any of my dice match. I've got 2 6s. Now, I want to clarify something here, because this has come up in some playtest games for us. It doesn't matter how many of your dice match. Even if you have a set of 2s and a set of 3s, you only get 4 points. So if any of your dice match, you get 4.
So the benefit of this card for me, since I originally played it as the penguin, was that I could add to my final score based on my dice. So I could add 6 for doubles, 10 for triples, 15 for 4 of a kind, and 20 for 5 of a kind. Now, if I would have had, let's say, 3 4s and 2 6s, I could then add 16 points to my final score, because I would get to take advantage of the doubles and the triples.
Okay, so that was the first round. And now we have to pass our cards and play our second hand. So everybody would pass their hands clockwise around the table. So I passed my cards down to the kangaroo, flipping them over in my hand first. And then the kangaroo passed their cards down to the penguin passed their cards up to me, the panda. Something about moving stacks in Tabletopia, which is going to make playing this in Tabletopia a lot easier. When you're sitting at a real table, you can just hand your hand to somebody. But one of the good tricks in Tabletopia is just to hold the shift key when you have a stack of cards. It will select the whole, just click once on it, it will select the whole deck or stack, and you can bring that into your hand. So that will be a lot easier if you're playing this in Tabletopia. Let's select our second group of cards. All right, so now we've all selected our second card of the round, and we will then go through resolving the second hand, or second card. So let's see who goes first. Penguin,
All right.
you're up.
That's what I like to hear.
All right, so let's see what the penguin starts us off with.
All right, so I have the trade card, and because I'm not the kangaroo, I get to follow the top text. So trade this card and the attached die for any other card in play and its attached die.
Ooh.
All right, so because I can take any other card in play, I would love to get my penguin family card back from Corey.
You're going to trade that one for that one?
Correct.
Okay.
So had I been the kangaroo, I would have simply been able to add 1 to all of my dice, meaning all of the dice I've already played, plus the ones still waiting to be played.
That's pretty powerful.
That is pretty powerful.
Okay, so then we will go clockwise around the table to resolve the next card, which would be my card here. So I have the cage. So I get to add 2 to my final score for each different animal I have in play. And unfortunately, I used to have a penguin and a kangaroo, but now I have 2 kangaroo. That doesn't help me. However, if I had been playing the kangaroo, that would have been great, because I would have read the bottom text, and the kangaroo cage adds 2 to my final score for each kangaroo I have in play, but that's not the case.
Something that's also come up is you have a panda player card. Does that count towards a different card in a different animal in play?
No, the player cards are just a card to designate who you're playing. This is not an actual card as far as playing anything. It's just to designate who you are and where you can set your dice in the beginning of the game. So what did you do as the kangaroo? Oh, you started a fight. All players re-roll a die, and the players get to choose which die they want to re-roll. The player with the highest, or players, if there's a tie, with the highest roll may add 2 to any die. All right, so you're going to re-roll this 10 here. Just even if you don't win, it makes you a better chance of having that. So let's roll that one. You got a 7. All right. I'm going to choose to re-roll. I think I'm going to re-roll this 6 here. That's no, I stand to lose a lot more there. I think I'm going to re-roll this one. Yes!
Ooh, look at that.
I still didn't win the fight because the kangaroo still has the 7. All right, choose one of your dice to re-roll. Now, wait, would you want to re-roll this 0 here?
No, that 0 stands for a 10, Corey.
Oh,
of course
okay.
Not.
All right.
But I am in a pickle here because I've got my double 4s, which goes along with my penguin family. However, they are my lowest. So I'm going to re-roll the 8-sided 4 in hopes that I get an 8 or a 6. I'm going to risk it.
8!
8! There it is!
Oh, nice.
And I win the fight.
And you win the fight. So what happens when you win the fight? Let's go back up here and see. You may add 2 to any die.
Any die.
Any die. So let's look at your dice here.
Well, I'm going to change my 6 to an 8 and go for triples. Actually, hold that thought. How many do I get to add?
2. You get to add 2.
Let me rethink this. So can you please zoom in on my doubles card there? So if I went ahead and I already have double 8s, which is a guaranteed 6 points. Now, if I add 2 to this 4, that would give me double 6s. So would I get 12 points there?
Let me see here. So if you added 2 to this one, it would be 6.
Right. So
you would add 6 and 6, and then you have 8 and 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you would add 6 points for your doubles, so you would get 12 total points.
Whereas if I make it triples, I would only get 10. Let's add 2 to that 4, Corey.
That becomes a 6. And that's the end of this round. What we're going to do now is we're just going to play out the rest of the hand and then come back to you and show you final scoring instead of going through all 5 cards. So even though you're dealt 7 cards, you only play through 5 until all the dice have been attached and all the cards have been resolved with the dice attached to them. So we're going to go ahead and pause now, come back and show you final scoring for a hand, and then wrap it up. All right, so we're back. We've finished out how this works. We're going to go ahead and go through your scoring first and see how the kangaroo did. So you remember playing animals, or you remember just getting animals on the loose, re-rolling that into a 7. Then you got the fight card. Tracy won that fight, so that just stayed a 4. You also, your next turn, you got a steal card where you could steal from the penguin. And you want to tell about what happened there?
Yeah, so with your steal card, you ended up taking my penguin family, which took my double bonuses of 12 points for doubles. So, yeah, thanks for that.
Then you've got a reroll card. You rerolled this into an 8. You got your own doubles card, so you get double bonuses there as well for 4. So let's go ahead and add up your final score. So I think this is probably the most complicated it could ever be in adding up scores because you've got 2 different types of end of game bonuses going on here. So first of all, let's add up the dice. 7 plus 4 is 11, plus 6, 17. Then you're at 25, 29. Now, 29 is your base score, but you have 2 different doubles cards that we get to add. Let's start with the penguin doubles. You just get to add 4 to your score for each, for if any of your dice match. Well, you have 2 4s, so 2 of your dice match. You get 4 extra points. That's 33. Then you have your own doubles here, which you get 6 for doubles there. Now, you don't have any other bonuses. You just get the 2 4s, so that would be 39 total. We'll go up to the panda here and figure out what that score is. Across here, the dice, we'll start at the back here. 3 6s, that's 18. 21 with my 3. 26 with the 5. The only end of hand bonus that I get is I get to add 2 to my final score for each type of animal I have in play. I have all 3 types. I've got a kangaroo, a penguin, and a panda, so that's an extra 6 points, bringing me to 26 plus 6, 31 points. Math is hard for us.
Math is hard.
That was the hardest part of making this game, I think.
Okay, I'm going to start this all over. Because I had it in my head and now you ruined it. All right. So as the penguin, let's see how I raked up the points. 8 plus 8 is 16. Plus 4 is 20. Plus 7 is 27. Plus 4 more is 31.
You added those up all over the place.
I sure did. Math is hard. And I do not have any end of the game bonuses, so I'm sitting at 31 points.
So winning this hand is the kangaroo sitting at 39 points. Now, you can choose, this. Each hand takes about 20 minutes. You could choose to play multiple hands and just keep adding up your points and just decide at the beginning of the game how many hands you're going to play. But in this one-hand game, the kangaroo won with a grand total of 39 points. Congratulations.